Stop trying to fix people. This is something I had to learn the hard way. You cannot fix people, and trying to will only drain you. A lot of us grew up with this quiet belief that if we just love someone hard enough, or care for them hard enough, or understand them deeply enough, or stay patient long enough, that they'll change. We've seen someone's pain, their patterns, their wounds, and instead of letting them face it, we step in and think, I can help, or I can fix this, or I can be the difference, or I can be the reason that they blossom and grow. And it's not like it's a mentality that comes from ego. It doesn't. It usually comes from a load of empathy, or trying to fix in others what you can't fix in yourself. It comes from caring too much, or from seeing potential instead of reality. But the problem is that potential isn't a promise, and love and care is not a repair job. So when you try to fix someone, you slowly start carrying things that aren't yours. You start carrying their emotions, their growth, their healing, their responsibility, their stress, their traumas, their insecurities. And a lot of the time, it doesn't even feel like it's optional. It just feels like it's an obligation. And over time, sometimes their stress and their insecurities and their traumas, it starts to mentally affect you, and then you start to develop your own insecurities and your own form of stress and your own form of traumas. It's almost like if you care about someone, you should be able to bear their weight too, but that's just not true. Their stress literally becomes your stress, and then their problems literally start coming before your own problems. And then you convince yourself that putting yourself last is just part of being a good person, and it's who you're meant to be, or just it's just what a good person does. But over time, that mindset eats away at you, because while you're holding everyone else together and you're busy trying to fix everyone else, no one is holding you. No one's going to be the one that fixes you. And you stop checking in with yourself, and you stop tending to your own needs and your own emotions and your own exhaustion. And slowly, without even realizing it, you just start to disappear inside someone else's world and inside of someone else's problems. And then you become the emotional glue that's holding everything together. And then it gets to this point where it feels like you're responsible because, oh, I'm the emotional glue now. I'm the reason why they're staying together. Over time, that turns into exhaustion. It turns into confusion. And most commonly, it turns into resentment. You start to dislike this person, or what they have to say, or when they come to you about their problems, you start to get annoyed and irritated. And it's just not good. And it's like, no matter how much you give, it ends up getting to a point where it feels like it's never enough to change someone, because they aren't choosing to change themselves. And then it just becomes this repeated cycle of thinking you could fix someone, and then realizing deep down that you can't fix them if you're not willing to fix themselves. But then you still try, but then now you're drained and exhausted, and just, it's too much. A lot of people fall into this I can fix them mindset and mentality because it feels purposeful. It feels like love with direction. It feels like you're doing something meaningful by staying and explaining and helping and holding on. But what it often is self-abandonment disguised as care. It's just a mask. And then you stay longer than you should, and you start explaining things that don't need explaining. You start overthinking. You start your hygiene starts declining. You start tolerating things that you shouldn't have to tolerate, especially from that person who you feel like, or you think you can fix, all because you believe your patience will eventually be rewarded, while in the meantime it's just disintegrating you little by little, bit by bit. And that's where that mentality starts to turn into something heavier. It basically becomes a superhero complex. You feel like it's your responsibility now to save everyone, as many people as you can. Like, if you don't step in, things will fall apart, and it's like you start to think you have to be the one to fix everything. But you're not a superhero, and you're not meant to carry everyone and everyone's weight and everyone's pain, especially when you already deal with your own weight, your own stress, your own pain, your own responsibilities, your own traumas, your own insecurities, your own financial instabilities, you know? And sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is offer advice or support or a perspective that isn't their own, and then step back. You have to let people decide what they want to do with all that. Advice is an invitation, it's not a leash. You can't just drag someone into growth. You can't force someone into healing. You can't make someone change if they're unwilling. You can't evolve a person if they are complacent, or if they just feel like that's it, you know? And yeah, that truth really sucks, and it really does suck, because you see the problem so clearly, and you see what would help, and you can see the potential outcome, and it does hurt. It hurts knowing that no amount of love or patience or effort from you can make someone choose differently for themselves, but that's the truth. And fixing people who don't want to change, it doesn't make you this noble royal. It just makes you tired, and sacrificing yourself doesn't guarantee a better outcome. It only guarantees that you'll be drained by the time you realize that nothing actually changed over all that time. Another thing nobody talks about is how fixing others it low-key gives us like this control, not in a manipulative way, but like in a comforting way. It gives us control over being negligent with our own lives and ourselves, and being, naive to our own problems. It's like, if you're focused on someone else's chaos, you don't have to sit with your own. And then if you're fixing someone else, you're distracted. You don't have to worry about fixing your own problems or anything else. You're useful, you're needed. And then that feeling of being needed, it becomes addictive, because it can be addictive. But being needed is not the same as being loved, and being useful is not the same as being valued. And sometimes the healthiest thing you can do for someone is let them face themselves, even if that means stepping back, even if that means you finally face yourself, even if that means you finally work on yourself as well. That doesn't make you cold. It doesn't make you uncaring, and it doesn't mean you failed. It just means you're choosing not to drown trying to save someone who won't swim. You are allowed to care and to love people without fixing them. You are allowed to care without carrying. You are allowed to walk away from situations that drain you, even if you understand why they are the way they are. Empathy without boundaries becomes self-destruction. You don't need to sacrifice yourself to prove that you care. You don't need to sacrifice yourself to show that you can be there for someone and that you can sit with them while they go through what they go through, but you don't have to inherit what they go through to help them through it. So, I just want to say, if this sounds like your experience, then it's probably because you've been the fixer in your life. So, welcome to the club, because that means you're just like me. You're the one who stays. You're the one who tries. You're the one who hopes. You're the one who sees potential in others but not themselves. You're the one who doesn't know how to be empathetic without drowning in guilt that you can't do even more for others than you already do. You're the one who is lost but thinks helping those who are lost will help them become found. But I just want to say that it's okay to stop. You're not giving up on them. You're not giving up at all. You're just choosing yourself for once. And I want you to know that I'm proud of you. And I do hope this video found its way to you. And I hope that what I said made at least a little bit of sense, if anything. And when you're ready, I'll see you on the next Soft Talk.